In the summertime when the weather is hot, we can hit the movies and make fun of them all. When the weather's hot, we go watching and critiquing all the time.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 68 of the Secondary Heroes podcast. This week, we look at the biggest bombs in summer movie blockbuster history and wonder, is 2020 the worst yet? This is your host, Trevor, and joining me as usual is...
Oh, God. Hey, it's Prague.
Gosh.
Are you a fan of the second Gremlins film? Because I am, and it's 30 years old today. This is DeLorean Wolfgang.
You just dropped one of my favorite movies, sir.
It's a lot of people's favorite movies. Actually, and it's funny, too, because I almost forgot about that movie for a while until that Key and Peele skit. Dude, were they... You want a spider gremlin? Put it in the movie. That's genius.
Yes, everything. Throw everything at that movie, including the kitchen sink, and it worked. For some reason.
You had me at genius gremlin. We want it in the movie. Put it in.
You know, it's funny.
Made me laugh so hard.
Growing up as a kid, when I saw that movie, I thought that character, the smart gremlin guy, was Kelsey Grammer for the longest time.
Oh,
and it wasn't until I was older that I
not.
found out that it wasn't him. It was a different voice actor or somebody.
Very similar voice, though.
Yeah, very similar voice and tone and all that kind of stuff. And
well, then, speaking of Kelsey Grammer, I didn't even know that he sang the song at the end of Frasier.
Oh, yes.
I just learned that, too, just recently. My wife was like...
Scrambled eggs.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Again.
Frasier, one of the most unrealistic shows of all time.
Pretty much.
But still,
really
fantastic.
What a great show.
I don't know. Have you ever watched Friends? It's pretty unrealistic as well.
I think anyone who lives in a big apartment in New York City.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, was Gremlins a summer movie? I think it was.
It came out 30 years ago today, so is this considered summertime?
I don't do math, sir. Hold on. Well, then it was a great summer movie. It was a summer blockbuster, I should say.
So it totally goes against what we're talking about today, then.
I know, but that's okay. So we can dive into some bombs.
There's plenty
not
that,
everything else.
Yeah, there's plenty that have bombed, and the reason we're talking about this is because 2020 is set up to be one of the best filled slates of bombs in summer blockbuster history.
Words. You're sounding like me. Words hard. Come out. Mouth.
He did that on purpose. He was trying to bait us into that. He was saying, this is going to be the best summer movie.
Oh, man.
Season ever. No. That's what he was doing. And he's right, because like all these movies we were expecting, they're all getting pushed back and back, and not even this year in some cases, I think.
Yeah, so the most recent news we got was Tenet, which was the one movie that hadn't moved. It was set for July 17th, 2020. Finally, they decided to push it. They only pushed it a couple weeks till July 31st, but Wonder Woman's been pushed from August 14th all the way till October 2nd. And the main reason is they said we can open up 90% of theaters by July 17th, but they'll only be at 30% capacity. And that might be good for some people. It's not good for movie execs. That's not enough butts and seats.
That's not a blockbuster making kind of deal right there. You're not going to get a blockbuster out of that. Not with that many empty seats.
Yeah.
Just saying.
And so it's not the same either. Like a lot of people, they want to get out of the house to go to put their butts in seats. But when we can't leave our house...
Yeah, I know. I understand that. But think about the amount of money they probably spent on these films. They want to make sure they can at least recoup, their losses, I guess.
Maximum value.
They do. They're not going to get that right now. Yeah. Definitely not this, which sucks. I mean, it's like you're going to get blockbuster movies not during the summer. Possibly.
Okay, for myself, does it matter when a blockbuster movie comes out? Because
it used to, right? It used to be the big thing. I mean, things have changed, right? I think Star Wars has changed that. Lord of the Rings changed that by coming out during the holiday period. But really, for the longest time, you would wait until all the kids were out of school, which gave them an excuse to go watch, a movie over and over again. That's what drove the dollars up. So that's when they did it. Nowadays, everyone's schedules are all over the place. Things are different. I guess you could have blockbusters in a different time of year, but it doesn't feel the same, I remember when, though. I don't know why. It is. I think, I don't know. I just remember.
I only say that is because when I when I think of summertime, I'm thinking I want to be outside. I want to be at the beach. I want to be doing stuff. I don't want to be inside a dark room.
What about at night,
has
though?
air conditioning.
I think so.
Yeah, and you're hot. It's hot. They want to be inside where it's air conditioned. Or at nighttime, they want to do something.
Yeah, I guess
that's just what they want to do. And something for places for parents to drop off their kids, probably, and like, here, go watch a movie.
It's a good call,
right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it sucks not being able to look forward to these big things. I clearly remember when Jurassic Park came out, I was pumped for months for this movie to come out. Billboards were everywhere. I knew the date. And it was right the day that school had ended. And my best friend and I went with my dad to the movie theater, and we watched it on opening day. And it was amazing. It was, I mean, obviously, it's Jurassic Park. It's like the best movie of all time. And to see that on opening day, and it was summer, and you're done. And you're done with school. It's like, you don't have to worry about school the next day or anything. I mean, there's just something about the summer blockbuster that's special, and we're not getting it this year.
We're not getting it this year, and the years that we're about to announce these movies, they didn't get it either.
They didn't get it either. Nice. Gotta like it.
Yeah.
But I mean, with some of the other movies, you did mention, you mentioned Tenet and you mentioned Wonder Woman. There's also Bill and Ted out there, man. Bill and Ted, that was supposed to be a summer blockbuster that people had been waiting, 20, 25 years for?
Something like that, if not longer. Yeah.
The long-awaited,
and I don't know. I don't think it would have as well as they think at the box office based on the trailer. I don't know if you guys saw the sneak preview.
Oh, it seems like a 10 to 20 million movie release. But
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. It's not
I
think they're hoping for it, but I don't think so. I think they just did it because the new fans were like itching for nostalgia. I mean, nostalgia porn is all the rage these days. So they're like, sure, Bill and Ted, why not? And Keanu Reeves is the hot item right now. So
I agree, but even when you watch the trailer, you get this like
sadness.
Kind of. Well, it's kind of like what they did with Dumb and Dumber 2 or Dumb and Dumber 2.
Wow. I like Dumb and Dumber.
They introduced Tom.
But, it was almost kind of like that feel. And then whenever I'm watching it, they're still trying to play the same characters.
Right, and they're too old to do that.
Yeah, they're too old to do that.
Doesn't work.
I mean, I know that I say dude every now and again, but they're still trying to phone in this dude.
Right.
Yeah. Be excellent to each other.
Right.
That
I think you did a better job than Keanu did in that.
Oh my God.
Yes. For him.
Because Keanu, it almost seemed like it was a lazy acting.
Yeah, it's like he's over it, man. He's like, my career's moved past this. Like, why am I doing this? Like, I don't know why he's doing it.
It's funny because after watching the trailer, I was like, oh, man, the other guy it seems like a better actor than Keanu right now.
Oops.
But the thing is he's moved on to bigger, better roles where he was able to it's hard to phone in something you did when you were a teenager. They're playing characters. It's not like John Wick. He doesn't have to say much. He just literally goes around shooting people. And that's what awesome.
Keanu's great at, so keep him doing that. Less he says, the better, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's like Matrix 4 is coming along, and that's delayed all the way until 2022 because 2021 is not soon enough.
I was thinking it was going to be kind of awesome having John Wick and Matrix 4 come out on the same day.
Same time, yeah.
Like, how cool is that for Keanu to have a movie that you're the star of both of them come out on the same day? Just fantastic. But now we don't get that.
No. Mm-mm.
Thanks a lot, coronavirus.
That was supposed to be a big blockbuster, the new Matrix movie. Do you think it would still have resonance today? Like, do you think it would be a blockbuster if it came out or when it does come out? Because based on the storyline, it depends on the trailer.
Because Matrix 2 and 3 left such a bad taste in people's mouth. A lot of people are like,
I agree.
I might watch it eventually, but not opening weekend, unless the trailer's like, oh my God, this looks like the original awesomeness.
Do you think the Wachowskis are like M. Night Shyamalan, that they lost their touch? Do you think they kind of lost that special magic they had when they first started out making movies? Because if you look at it, they progressively get, in my opinion, worse and worse. And their blockbusters aren't really blockbusters anymore. Because I was going to mention one called Jupiter Ascending that came out, I don't know when, a few years ago. And
sounds like we're transitioning.
Segue.
I liked it.
Nice segue.
Yeah. And that movie, I think, was supposed to be like this new big franchise for them, and it just bombed. I mean, it was
with the cast that they had Mila
big
Kunis,
names.
they had Channing Tatum. I mean, these people were at their hottest when this movie came out, and nobody cared.
No, it was like, what is this? They weren't too sure what was going on.
The trailer looked really bad.
Yeah, it seemed out of place. Like the whole thing seemed out of place. And I just wonder if they can still make summer blockbusters anymore.
It's interesting because Jupiter Ascending, Valerian came out right around the same year.
That's another one I was thinking of too, which also bombed, right?
Yeah, it bombed super bad. And it seems like all those movies that there's a few that do really good that adapt like the YA novels for, there's the Harry Potter,
Maze Runner and all that kind of stuff.
But
sure.
Then there's like Ender's Game and Aragorn and all this kinds of stuff that just fails so hard.
Right. Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know if it's
like Golden Compass. They had to turn it into a TV show on HBO.
Right, because that movie was so bad. They're like, okay, fine, we'll make it an HBO show.
I am a little bummed that Valerian didn't do better in the box office because I watched that.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It was decent. It was a decent film. Like I could have, if they made a sequel, I would have been all for it. I would have been like, hell yeah, I'll watch that.
Yeah, and it bombed because I think it was just too broad of a topic, and I think it was too similar looking, I think, to a lot of the other movies at the time, like what Judge Trevor was mentioning. A lot of these movies kind of looked the same too. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just kind of a hot mess of ideas being thrown about, I think. Just didn't work. But yeah, I agree. It was a fun movie, unfortunately.
Here's the thing. And the fact that I'm able to say that, and I remember that I watched that movie on an airplane. The fact that I liked a movie from an airplane flight, it's saying something.
The main reason.
It made all the action so much more exciting when I hit turbulence. And
14! It's like I'm in the movie. It's red.
The Wachowski brothers, though, they do come up on the biggest blockbuster failures, and that goes to your point. Are they really blockbusters if they keep failing? Because one on my list was Speed Racer. It came out back in 2008, May 9th. It cost $120 million to make, and it ended up losing $95 million. And that was like a big release at the time because it has the name brand recognition for 60s nostalgia. Right. And it had the Wachowski brothers, 2008. They were coming relatively close to Matrix, and that movie just bombed so hard. And I watched that movie in the theaters. I enjoyed it. It was pretty entertaining. It wasn't the greatest movie, but it was entertaining.
It was what you expect from a blockbuster, a summer blockbuster at least, right? It's like fast paced and bright colors and lots of fun. It's not necessarily great. I mean, not all summer blockbusters that make big money are necessarily great films. They're just fun films too. So I don't know. Maybe it was just that the name recognition wasn't big enough and broad enough. It was too niche.
It was too geared to a specific demographic. And I think that's kind of the biggest thing about a lot of these flops is that it's not broad. It's more focused on just a certain group of people. And I mean, that's why a lot of them flop because not everybody can relate to whatever they're trying to portray in those movies.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting.
It's interesting because Emile Hirsch was in that movie and I haven't heard him do anything since. I looked it up on IMDb to see what he's been in, and he has like various guest appearances on TV shows or like the 10th actor down on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's about all that he's been doing. Career killers, if you are in some of these movie flops.
Yeah.
As the main star.
So that's the interesting thing. Out of the little bit of research that there's a little bit of research. Out of the little bit of research, there's that word again, that I was doing, a lot of these flops really didn't hurt too many people's careers. Like a lot of these movies that I've looked up, I mean, from Dennis Hoffman, he went on to do great things. I mean, Michael Crichton, there was a book, Michael Crichton, he came out with Jurassic Park. He had some flops before then. I mean, he still did great things. It's funny, you know, I don't know. Maybe that's just from the little bit of research that I did.
Well, fine for them, but maybe not for the studio too. You know, some studios have gone under because of flops like these. So
actually, that's funny. That was one on my list.
Which one?
Final Fantasy: The Spirit Within, back in 2001.
What?
Final Fantasy movie?
It was a Final Fantasy. The fact that you guys are all very confused about this.
Yeah.
A summer flop. Yeah, 30 or not 30 years ago, but they had this they wanted to make the reason why it flopped is because the movie had nothing to do with the Final Fantasy game and the story.
Because like Super Mario Brothers. Okay.
Which is also on my list.
Right.
But the Final Fantasy story from the game, we had just had Final Fantasy VII with Cloud, with Sephiroth, like one of the greatest video games to come out in recent history, or at the time recent history. It was one of the
and then to have a movie.
And then they had a movie that had nothing to do with the video game. And they spent hours upon it because it was fully CG. This was one of the first fully CG movies that was hold on, let me do this. Photorealistic.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so this was made by Square Enix, which created their studio called Square Pictures.
This is starting to sound familiar now that you're talking about it.
Nah, well, it's just, I mean, these companies just trying to chase after more money just off the success of a video game like that. I mean, you look at even World of Warcraft when they came out with their movie.
Oh yeah,
it was.
Oh God, that's a good call. That was supposed to be another big one that did not do well.
Oh, there's already a trend that I'm seeing now is these video games, which that could be a whole episode on its own.
Yeah,
you could just throw in Pixels too while you're at it.
I kind of liked Pixel.
Doesn't matter if you like it or not, it still flops.
No, totally.
I'm just saying, a lot of these movies I like.
I wanted to jump back to Final Fantasy really quick. It ended up costing the company, or it cost nearly $170 million to produce that movie, and they made only $81 million back. So, I mean,
that's not good at all.
That ended up folding that Square Pictures. I think they only made that one movie.
We'll stick to video games.
Absolutely. And
we'll stick to cut screens.
I don't know if you guys have seen the updated version of Final Fantasy VII, but they re-released it with
I've seen
all like new HD feature, and it looks
probably what it is. That same company, probably went like, okay, we'll do this instead.
We'll make money off of that.
But that movie came out in 2002. Yeah, there's been plenty since and before.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Did you guys have more? Yeah.
How about you, Josh? Would you?
One that I could think of is Green Lantern. I think, I mean, to me, as a comic book person, I was so excited about it just to see it just look terrible. I know for
the
them
fact
too.
That they had Ryan Reynolds too.
Yeah, I mean that's probably a big reason why they thought it was going to be a success.
It was miscast. Nothing against him. It was just miscast.
Yeah, I mean it just poorly used the CGI and everything like that to kind of make Green Lantern realistic, which is, I guess, it's pretty tough. I don't know. I'm not a film director or anything like that, or
like that. But you're a podcast, so you have an opinion.
But I mean, you look at the budget. They had a $200 million budget. And worldwide, they only made 219, so it just barely scraped by breaking even.
Right.
And even at that,
they probably still lost money.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
It's funny because that Green Lantern movie, it was more kind of in that original Spider-Man mold, where those movies, they had a similar design and vibe style, and DC didn't know what they were doing yet because they didn't have Dark Knight and all Batman Begins yet.
Well, and I mean, DC's been chasing Marvel for a long time now.
Yeah.
I mean,
don't go chasing Marvel films.
Justice League is on the list of movies that were big, huge flops. So.
It seems like Green Lantern got blackballed, the character itself, because he never showed up in Justice League or anything like that. So, I mean, maybe in the Snyder Cut he shows up. I don't know. So
he's supposedly going to, right? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a whole nother conversation.
Right? Yeah.
Maybe.
Cut it out.
Oh, Uncle Joey.
Had to do it.
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, no. I thought I was about to interrupt you. Please proceed.
Is that all you got, Josh, on that?
That's all I got.
Sore subject for you. All right, Alex, what do you get?
Well, I was actually going to jump right back over to video games because I've got not again, but the Super Mario Brothers, man.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you not put this in a list of movies that have flopped?
And it could not. How could it flop when it was like the biggest game of all time?
Exactly. Well, and it was, I mean, it wasn't geared just kids. Like the game was geared. I mean, they had adults trying to master this game at the same time kids were playing it. So the movie was great. Like if they could have taken the movie, which their whole plan was, let's make this movie a little more grittier so adults would enjoy it too. But the problem is the directors that made the movie had never looked at the video game ever.
No.
They literally got a script and they said, oh, well, we'll rework this. And they ended up reworking that whole movie into something that we don't recognize as Super Mario at all.
And the thing is, the funny story that I remember reading about it, because I was like, I love Nintendo and Mario Brothers, and I remember the movie coming out and reading an article about it, about how the producers had never played the game, never even seen the game, and I'm like,
right,
how bad is this movie going to be? And I kept seeing all these pictures of what the Goombas look like. I'm like, none of this looks like the game. Like, what movie are they making? And yet I still saw it in theaters, and I still was like, yeah, all right. Yeah. Just didn't make sense to me. I'm like, I don't know what this has to do with Mario Brothers, but
and here's the funny thing is, like, a movie like this is now considered a cult classic. Like,
well, sure, because it's goofy as heck and it's fun to watch because it's so dumb. It's like, yeah, all right, sure.
Like, they could almost make a video game and make it look like this and call it like,
they could,
different universe of whatever. Right. But the funniest part is Bob Hoskins said that this was the worst thing he ever did.
Oh, for sure.
Interestingly enough, too, Nintendo, it kind of scared them away. They haven't done, like, there's been a ton of video game movies since, and Nintendo hasn't licensed their IP for any movies.
They're like, nope, forget that. We tried, you failed.
We did that.
That's
they're making
why
a theme park, and they're not going
theme parks
movies.
Are fine, but that's why I never want them to make a Zelda movie ever. To do not property, please.
I don't know. You could make a pretty rad Zelda movie.
They could, but they won't. They will screw it up.
Oh, absolutely not.
I don't know, man. You need to just hire Kevin Feige to do a Marvel Cinematic Universe of Nintendo. You start with, Mario movie, and then a Zelda movie, and then a Metroid movie, and then they all link up together in a Super Smash Brothers movie.
Link. They all link up together.
So what you're saying is they need to make Captain N Masters of what is it? Captain N, the cartoon where they had. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Of course, you guys know. I dressed up as Captain N at Comic-Con. So.
Right.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was good times.
Look up Captain N, people, if you don't know what it is.
Because most people probably don't. Nintendo. Yes.
No, I know. It's such a niche thing. That's why it got no attention at Comic-Con.
Unless you subscribe to like Nintendo Power back in the day, I don't think many people will know.
Shout out to Nintendo Power.
Oh, I missed that magazine.
Hard rip.
Oh, well. Yeah.
All right. Trevor, you got some for us?
Well, speaking of hard rips, this is one of the worst. Not in
did I pass wind again? Okay.
Oh, no.
Wasn't me this time, I swear.
But one of the worst blockbuster failures of all time is a movie called Cutthroat Island. It was released in 1995, and it would cost $98 million, and it only made $18.3 million. With marketing budget, it lost $147 million based on inflation today. And the cool thing is that it was so bad, the Guinness Book of World Records declared it the biggest box office bomb of all time.
Oh,
and this movie came out in 1995. There was like pirate movies all leading up to it. Like Hook came out before this. There wasn't another pirate movie until Pirates of the Caribbean in 2007. So they like stopped, ended all pirate movies just for how bad this is. And the production company, they're called Carcolo Pictures. They made movies including Terminator 2, all the Rambos, Total Recall, Basic Instinct. They went under because of this movie.
Oh my God. Because those were great movies, and to go from that to Cutthroat Island, I guess it really was cutthroat. Oh man, they walked the plank with that one, didn't they? Holy cow. Man, as a kid, like I was so hyped for that movie because you'd see the posters in the lobby, and I'm like, oh my God, it's pirates, which are awesome. It's Gina Davis.
Gina Davis, dude.
I'm like, I have to see this movie. I want to see her kick butt. And it was just bad. I mean, I saw that in theaters, and I was like, See, I never saw it again.
That's like one of those movies that you just kind of like, you almost kind of root for a little bit.
Yeah, you try to.
Because you like the cast, you like the premise, but everything is just terrible.
Well, no, that movie was lost at sea. Bad times.
Wow,
That's
man.
Three
what did you eat before this? Because
he's on today.
Hopefully people are keeping count at home. We need a little ding.
In fuego, man.
I'm walking on punshine.
All
right. Anyways,
ruined.
I'll stop.
All right, Prague. Well, do you got a movie for us?
I really do like the Cutthroat Island one, but that kind of segues into what I was going to talk about, which is Waterworld. Waterworld was a movie that had so many production delays and reshoots because of the weather conditions, because they're shooting on the ocean, so you're going to get weather delays. Just sets were destroyed. I remember when I was a kid, before this movie came out, hearing that it had already spent more than any movie ever made. It was going to be the most expensive movie ever made, and I don't think it made any of its budget back at all.
Worldwide, it did.
Worldwide, it did, yeah, eventually.
Yeah.
But in America, it was like
terrible.
Everyone's like, "What the heck is this?" People weren't responding well to it. They tried to,
I don't get why.
I like that movie. It's fun. It's not a great
too.
movie. It's just one of those fun like summer movies. You put it on and
it's
have
a perfect summer movie where they're all at the beach the whole time.
It's like the longest running live action theme park, thing they have. It's been at Universal since the movie came out. It's still going somehow.
Yeah. Probably because they spent so much money. Like, we gotta make use of this somehow.
You go to Waterworld and people are like, "What? I've never even heard of this movie."
I want to say it might have even hurt Kevin Costner's career, because I'm not too sure what he did after this movie. I mean, I know he did stay, but it wasn't. Yeah, like. What did he do? The Postman after this? I don't know. He just had a bunch of.
Oh, that's another bomb right there. Oh, that was a really bad one. But no, he made a recent comeback with a lot of these sports movies. I mean, they're all sports movies, though, that I've seen him in. But.
Yeah, they're kind of more sporty stuff, I guess. Yeah, I guess he has. But that one was one that stuck out in my head when we first came up with this topic, was Waterworld, because I do remember being that nerdy kid that liked to look up box office numbers and budgeting and stuff, and I thought that was really crazy that this movie was going to be as much as it was. I forget what numbers they're touting at the time, but it was astronomical. Now it's nothing, right? Movies are made with hundreds of millions and billions of dollars and make it all back. So different time.
Yeah,
it is.
Well,
now.
And I mean, luckily that's turned into a cult classic to where people are jumping right back into it and enjoying it.
Yeah,
the
map's
it's a cult upside classic. Down.
Right.
Anyways,
there's a lot of weird stuff in that movie
so
too.
Dumb. Oh, dude, the scene where he pees in the jar and then drinks. Out of the Anyways,
that filter is filtered water. What are you talking? It's filtered. You're good.
As a kid, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, how is this?
I'm like, how can I do this?
Is this gonna be in the future? Am I gonna have to drink my pee in the future?
Yeah, am I have to worry about this?
Am I gonna have to 127 hours myself?
I'd be okay though driving around in a jet ski all day. If that's how my life has to be,
dude.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
it's fine with me.
Red Lobster.
Josh, do you got any, man?
Red Lobster.
I got another superhero movie. Fantastic Four from 2015.
Yeah. Wait, which one?
2015.
Okay.
Let's talk about that one.
The first one might have done pretty well.
Yeah, I think the first one did a lot better than this one. Yeah, because this one, I think what the issue was,
Josh Trank, right?
A lot of reshoots. So they had, at the end of the day, it was just an unorganized film that was just thrown together just to kind of make something. I think for a comic book people, you look forward to the Fantastic Four, and because in hopes that it would, open the door for other things to happen within
that universe,
the Marvel universe.
Right.
So to see this flop, you see how it's hurted to this day, to where we haven't yet to see another remake of it
yet.
Or it was so bad, it helped Fox finally sell the rights or acquired by Disney, so that way
that's a good twist.
Marvel could be back under umbrella.
Always looking on the bright side of life, there, Trevor.
But you also got to take you got to look at it and think. Look at Michael B. Jordan. He was the Human Torch in that movie, and the fact that he came off of this movie and then went to Black Panther and became an awesome character in another Marvel superhero film.
Well, that was the joke back when Black Panther came out, that the MCU has saved two terrible Human Torches.
Human Torches, exactly. Captain America,
Oh, yep. Saved them both. That's kind of ironic.
But yeah,
I
that
wonder who
movie.
they're gonna cast next in their own universe.
Well, here's the thing that was kind of weird about that one, right? Because so Josh Trank, what he tried to do is he tried to like change the storyline to update the story for modern times, add people of color in the different roles, and that I think was a great idea. But you did it, but you took away from the dynamic of the actual comic as well. Like it would have been probably more interesting if there's still maybe a family and some other dynamics in there, stuck more to the original comic roots. Would have helped him a bit more than trying to go too far off the deep end, and it just didn't feel like the Fantastic Four when you saw it. It just looked like any other like was this the Power Rangers? Like what movie is this? I wasn't too sure.
Some
like,
kind of
A lot of them,
sci-fi
they were
movie.
wearing black suits too. They weren't even
right. It was
in their
but they
traditional
looked
blue
like
suits.
it. Yeah, where's the blue suits?
More like spacesuits.
Where's the
Yeah.
spandex? What the heck?
hold
And,
on.
I mean,
we
the
can't
thing
get
is-
into the whole suits thing though. When you're
But-
looking at all of the X-Men movies, when you're looking at any of
Well, that
these
was
Marvel
my same
movies,
thing. I do wish they had those original suits in the X-Men movies, and they didn't. So
Yeah.
saying.
There's a difference between original suits and generic
At least an
suits,
aesthetic
though.
too, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
It was really generic.
But I mean, that movie itself, I feel like the first Fantastic Four came out in 2004, and then this movie came out in like 2010. And they're like, let's redo how they get their powers. It's like, I think the audience is already burnt
Yeah,
out.
we've been there.
We
done
know
that.
their origin story. That's why the new Spider-Man with Tom Holland is so good. We don't have to see him get bit by a spider. We got it. We know Uncle Ben, great power, all that stuff. We're good.
He just dives right into the story. It's great.
So
Yeah,
my understanding from this movie was that they tried to rush this movie out so they could keep the rights to it.
Yeah, that was part of it too.
yeah.
Yeah.
It all adds
And-
into the equation.
Yeah,
Mhm.
which obviously that's not going to make for, I don't
A
know,
good movie?
good
Sure.
movie, good
Sure.
movie, good anything about it. Oh my
Well, it helped
god!
them keep the rights long enough to make Deadpool under their umbrella.
Yeah.
But it also
Yeah.
let them make Dark Phoenix, which came out last year, and that was a horrible bomb on the list
Yeah.
too.
It was almost like they're just trying to fast track as many X-Men films as they could or something. Like, I know, soon enough, we're going to lose the rights to this. So we might as well pump out as much crap as we can. And they sure
it
did.
tarnishes the reputation of those comic book characters, and
It
people
does.
end up not liking them. Just
Yeah, they're like,
because of how
oh, we're
bad the
gonna
films
we're
were.
gonna have to deal with Jean Grey again. Oh, jeez. And it's like, no, she's like one of the best characters. Stop.
Yeah.
And they ruined her.
Mhm.
Oh well.
Well, the original Jean Grey was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
The woman who I can't think of who it was off the top of my head,
It
but
was
she
Femke
just,
Jackson.
she played a fantastic
She was
role,
great.
man.
Yes. So we'll see what happens with that too. Some
Yeah.
flops in there. I mean, that was a flop. You know.
So, I in my research, I really enjoyed seeing some major flops, and this one I felt was
Yeah.
one of the biggest ones. And everybody's favorite comedian, Eddie Murphy, in
Okay.
The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
Oh my God. Yes, that was
Exactly.
bad. Was that a summer blockbuster though? It probably
It was.
huh?
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a summer block. It was released in
Oh,
August
God.
2002.
That really
but the thing
destroyed
was,
him.
it wasn't even
yeah,
even
he went into
supposed to
hiding
be.
after that.
Yeah,
Ah.
it wasn't supposed to be a summer blockbuster, but through delays and all kinds of just BS, it ended up being pushed to August 2002. But it cost it was reported that the budget was around like 100,000 or 100,000. Oh God, $100 million.
That would be tough to lose money.
I'm like, oh, that's not bad then.
So $100 million, but all it made back was 7.1 million.
Woo!
How did it even end up costing
Dang.
so much?
Yeah,
That's the
because it's
real
awful.
question.
Like the CGI is terrible in
the-
that film.
I don't know. I watched the trailer. The CGI wasn't
CGI shouldn't be expensive though.
horrible. Well, I mean, dude, what was Eddie Murphy coming off of at this point? I mean, he was what, the Nutty Professor?
Yeah, those other bigger movies.
So yeah, and
So-
his name was kind of big at the time, where he could almost do no wrong.
right.
And then
Until this. That's how bad this
Yes.
was. They literally
Yeah.
defined what he
Yeah.
could do wrong.
yeah. Well, and then he just had a slew of just bombs after that. He could not find footing at all.
Yeah. No,
It
you can't.
happens.
So it does ruin some people's careers. There you go. Unfortunately.
But Eddie Murphy's making a comeback. He did that Netflix.
yeah, he's trying. He's trying.
He's gonna find his
We'll see.
feet, man. That guy, you can't hold him down long.
We are pretty forgiving with our actors, aren't we?
Yeah.
We'll let them make a comeback. We don't mind.
There's one person who's probably
for
not getting a
Kramer.
comeback.
Oh?
I don't remember the name, but there was a movie that Kevin Spacey was in that came out last year, and it literally made $70. Like,
I heard about
wait.
this.
I'll
Yeah.
look this one up.
What was
'cause
it
it had a
called?
good cast too. It had like the guy from Baby Driver in it and some other people. And
Oh,
I
geez. Again, him and Baby Driver, because he was in Baby Driver as well, wasn't he?
yeah.
Is this the one where they had to reshoot it with a different actor?
No,
as
that's the
well?
one about J. Paul Getty.
Yes. Okay, that's what I'm thinking of. I don't know what this other movie is, but okay.
It was It might not have been $70. It might have been 70,000, but the movie
Still.
cost like millions of dollars.
Holy cow!
So
Oh,
I don't think he
God.
has a redemption arc in his future.
No,
I don't think he has. No.
especially with those creepy videos he keeps posting like once every few months.
It's like every Christmas now.
Like what?
hold on.
He's
Why?
like an evil, creepy Santa.
Yes,
Didn't he get Me Too'd? I'm pretty sure he's.
he did. Yes, that's what we're
Yeah.
talking about.
Oh,
but
okay.
But he's still making videos to the public. He's like, oh,
Yeah.
well,
He's
in
like-
character. Like
I just
what?
had to look up this thing, yeah, on his IMDb,
Oh,
and he's
God.
got just
That will flop your
shorts.
film. Don't
There's,
put him in your movie. He'll
Yeah,
flop.
Boys Club.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Boys Club.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's the full title?
Billionaire Boys Club.
Yeah.
Billy,
Yep, that
that's
was
right. I
it.
do remember that title. Holy cow. Well, it wasn't a billionaire movie, that's for sure.
Oh,
But Kevin Spacey sure does love his boy clubs. So
Oh gosh.
MG.
oh.
We might have to cut that out.
I'm just saying.
Just have
Anyways.
one long
What's your frog saying? What was he talking about? You'll never know.
That's just comedy, baby.
never
It's
know.
comedy.
Anyways, I think we should talk about the one behind me that I believe
One
we
behind
had
you.
some yeah.
Oh, that's
Oh.
right.
And what if we were
Oh, yeah.
listening and we're not watching?
I forget that we have listeners too, because we are on YouTube, by the way. So if you don't follow us on YouTube, please follow us on YouTube at Secondary Heroes. But behind me is a movie called John Carter of Mars.
John
which
Carter.
One of the friends of the show, Jimmy, had mentioned this to us as a good flop, and I do recall it vividly because even before the movie came out, there was rumors that this might be a flop because they changed the title of the comic book to John Carter instead of A Princess of Mars because they thought it wouldn't sell well having a princess in the title, even though like Wonder Woman made, buco bucks at the box office.
And it's a Disney movie.
It could have
Mhm.
brought people in.
Yeah,
thinking
it
it's
could have
They've made
definitely-
quite a bit of money on princesses, I'm pretty sure.
It's about a kick-ass, woman like fighter. Like, how would you not want that in your title and whatever? So that didn't do well. The CGI was pretty bad. I actually enjoyed the movie for what it was because I do like the comics; they're kind of fun. But it just, it failed in all levels. It didn't really resonate with the original fans of the comic books, and of course, no one knows what this John Carter of Mars means. Like, it doesn't mean much to anybody else if that's not the title of the comic book. So, oh well.
You know what's interesting about it is that goes to the whole idea of I watched the movie like a year or two after it came out just because I heard it was so bad. So you watch it and I was like, oh, that's
Right.
not that bad. It's because
Right,
you
it's
go into
like-
that
It's
expectation.
the expectation thing, right?
Yeah. So
was
if
weird
you
'cause,
actually
yeah,
went to the theater though, I can't imagine that you were like, oh, that was good money spent.
I didn't think it was good money spent. I just went in thinking, oh, this is going to be a terrible movie, but my friend wanted to go see it. So I'm like, fine, no, I'll go see it, whatever. And I went, oh, it's not as bad as people were saying. I can see it's not great. It's not a movie I'll ever watch again, but it wasn't as bad. But
You know, a
definitely
movie's not very
see-
good if you say it wasn't that bad as people
I
said.
know.
You know, it's already on a barrier that's never going to be able to overcome that.
Pretty much.
Well, you know what's
Pretty
interesting
much.
is the fact that no company is immune to bad movies.
Oh, that's for sure. Like,
I mean, the
Disney's as
fact
well,
that
right.
Disney has tried their hand at so many different that like they want to have the Pirates of the Caribbean type of movies all over. Like John Carter, I'm sure they were looking to
That's what
make
they were.
that into.
Yeah.
They were trying
Like
to
a
make
whole
this into
franchise.
a franchise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they were trying the same thing with Prince of Persia, Sands of Time.
I forgot about that. Oof.
Exactly, another flop.
Yeah.
They
I have
were
a good one.
Yeah.
They were looking
So-
at that going, this is going to be our next big Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Yeah, speaking of, so Disney, they did release The Lone Ranger on July 3rd, 2013. So
that's actually
Independence Day weekend.
I totally forgot about that movie too.
$225 to $250 million. And it ended up losing $180 million. That's pretty impressive. And so Armie Hammer, he's like super hot stuff. People love him. And then Johnny Depp's in it, coming right off of Pirates of the Caribbean. And then it's directed by Gore Verbinski and produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, the whole combination of Pirates of the Caribbean. So it has all that Pirates of the Caribbean vibe. And the movie just nobody watched. And I actually saw this movie on Netflix or whatever, and I was like, that was pretty entertaining. It has some good action sequences at the end. There's really stupid setups of how the story develops, but you just laugh at it. Right. I mean, it's Lone Ranger. It's not serious original material.
Dude, in 2013, who are they making the Lone Ranger for?
That's my question. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a niche audience. It's kind of like
90-year-old people that are dead now and don't care. It's like, and my problem with it is that the way it was presented, like the kind of the humor mixed with the dark, it reminded me of too much of Wild Wild West, which I think it did for a lot of other people. And that movie is god awful.
Could it be that Disney is the one putting it, so people are not expecting like an adult film?
That too. Yeah, they're like, oh, it's not gonna be that adult, so I don't need to worry about it. I won't go see it. Maybe I'll wait until later. Let the kids watch it.
Not only that, but if you've watched Rango with Johnny Depp, where he voices the little chameleon or gecko or whatever he is, there's a lot of parallels in the story for the Lone Ranger.
I can tell. Yeah. Yeah, Rango I can see is a lot like that, kind of weird. Like, I took some peyote and now I made a movie.
Every time I see the movie poster for Rango, I always think of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yep, that's what it looks like.
It looks like it. Johnny Depp was in both of them. I mean, how could I not think Fear and Loathing? But anyway.
So is Johnny Depp no longer a big draw? Is he no longer a summer blockbuster?
Well, and that's what I was.
He definitely fails in a lot of movies too.
Yeah.
The Lone Ranger, I feel like that was their whole like niche. They were like, you know what? We're going to make him do the same character as Jack Sparrow and throw him in another movie and see if it hooks.
Yeah, I think that's also what drew people away from the film. It's like, oh, I've already seen Jack Sparrow. I don't want to see him again.
Exactly.
You
know? Yeah. Now, if we were to jump into other, well, actually, so this is an actor who didn't go the route of Johnny Depp and fail. He's still making movies and still doing great. Mr. Tom Cruise. Right. That guy doesn't make too many floppers. But The Mummy? Come on, man.
That destroyed a big franchise. I mean, that was going to be Universal's like home run.
Yes.
Big deal, you know.
They were going to bring the Monster Squad back to put them all back in their graves, but that didn't happen.
No.
It certainly didn't. And, you know, Universal failed with The Wolfman with Benicio del Toro like 5 years before The Mummy come out.
I forgot about that movie, too. That's right, that movie came out. Gosh.
Universal keeps failing at rebooting their movie monsters. I mean, how hard can you mess up Frankenstein and Dracula? And I mean, they're iconic people. You don't need many details. Oh, Frankenstein. Oh, they have all kinds of connotations.
We know how they were born. We know how they were created. Stop. Don't give us a 3-hour, creation story of
Get
these
into
characters.
Like some action story about their lives now. We know Dr. Jekyll and Hyde. We don't need to see them experiment and turn into it.
I agree.
Throwing Russell Crowe in as that, because he was going to be like the narrator, orchestrator of their whole thing. That was weird too.
Yeah. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
Well, I thought we were talking about The Mummy for a second. I'm like, where?
No, it was.
Yeah. Russell Crowe's Dr. Jekyll.
Yeah, in The Mummy.
Yeah.
I never saw it.
There you go.
Yeah, we were talking about The Mummy though.
Oh my God!
And we weren't talking about the Brendan Fraser Mummy, which actually did really well.
Hashtag bring back Brendan Fraser, because I was going to say that's the only reason why this Mummy failed. They did not bring back Brendan Fraser, which
every week on Secondary Heroes, hashtag bring back.
And shout out to Brendan Fraser being in Dudley Do Right. That did excellently.
Oh God, that was horrible.
Dudley Do Right.
Was that what got rid of him right there? That movie was pretty much it for him?
I don't know. Maybe.
He didn't really do anything.
Yeah. But anyways.
So Josh, do you have another one?
Another one? The Last Airbender, 2010.
Oh. That's a good call.
To me, I really like the cartoon, the animated series, and to see them just ruin it with this movie.
I went to that movie. I went to that movie on opening weekend with some of my best friends. My best friend loves the show. Like obsessed with the show, was so excited to see it in live action, was a big fan of M. Night Shyamalan, and she hated it. And I went in, I'm like, that was a fun movie. It was dumb, but I'm like, that was a lot of fun. Like bending air and water and stuff, and fires is rad. It's like, I don't know, like it's fine with me. I liked it.
But you had no backstory. You had
no backstory.
Knowing the source material ruins so many movies.
Right. And now that I've seen it, because I have watched the show since, like bits and pieces of it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's nothing like the movie I saw. So I can see why people would be upset with it.
I skipped it when I learned that it wasn't the sequel to Avatar.
Oh.
I said, nope, I'm not going to go see this.
Where are the blue people at?
Where are the big blue people?
Well, I guess they blew it.
We still don't know. I don't know when James Cameron's ever going to release those movies. It's going to be like 50 years
the next
from
10
now.
of them? Dude.
Now, are those going to be flops?
Oh, they might be.
They might.
Because the original, there was an exhibit at D23 because they just got Avatar and they had a whole thing and it goes like step by step through the movie. And I'm like, I don't remember a single thing that happened in this entire movie.
I don't either.
I actually really enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it the first time, but that was it. Like it was like a one-time experience. It was like, oh, I saw that. Cool.
Yeah, it's like a visual spectacle that doesn't really have anything else to stand on.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, all it was a cowboys and Indians in space.
Yeah, it was.
Speaking of cowboys and Indians,
which leads to the next one. Hold on, are we thinking of the same movie?
You go.
Cowboys and aliens.
Yeah. Yes.
Another disappointment that I was really looking forward to. Oh.
Jon Favreau.
So looking forward to it, man.
Jon Favreau just directed Iron Man 1 and 2, and so he's directing this. And then they have Harrison Ford and Daniel Craig in it. And, oh my God. I was excited for this movie. I remember, like a lot of these movies I didn't see in theater, I did see that one in theaters.
Yeah, I didn't see it in theaters, but I remember watching it like at home, and I couldn't sit through the whole thing. I turned it off. It was bad. It was one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life.
Whoa, come on.
It was awful.
You can't say that. It wasn't that bad.
I turned it off. I never turn off a movie. So let's just put it that way. It was bad.
I didn't mind it too much, but I mean,
but
it was a nothing movie. There wasn't anything.
It was nothing. That's what it was.
It was just a premise.
Literally, it was.
No, it was a premise and no story. It was like, oh my God, you need to make a story.
I went in there looking for the pretty colors moving around on the screen. That was pretty much it. I mean, the premise, it would have made a great comic book.
Maybe.
It would have been a better TV show.
Or a TV show.
It would have been a fun TV show. Because then you would have got more of a story and character development. So
you need stories.
It just didn't work. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you need stories. Even for a summer blockbuster, yes, it could be, fun and dumb, but it still has to have some kind of like story structure that's intriguing. It can't just be completely leave your brain at the door. I mean, unless it's like really cool, like, I don't know, CGI or something. Even then you need some kind of...
Like all those Transformers movies. Finally, the last one failed and we haven't seen one for a while.
God.
One of the best episodes of 30 Rock is where Liz has like a dream and she sees the poster for the next Transformers and it says written by no one. And that's essentially Transformers.
It is.
Well, they're trying to bring it back. I mean, I know that they had the Bumblebee movie, so they were trying
because Last Night was so bad they had to kill that whole Optimus Prime storyline. And then Bumblebee, everyone was like, this was actually good for a Transformers movie. And this goes back to the point earlier. If you have to say any qualifications, it's not good.
Right. This is actually kind of good for a Transformers movie. That means it's bad. Yeah. That's code for it's bad, folks. Just saying. No, unfortunately, that was like, I guess their attempt at a reboot of the franchise, and I don't think that worked either, because I'm pretty sure that didn't make that much money.
It was critically acclaimed, but not box office acclaimed. When they had the good box office movies that were critically panned. So,
Are you a fan of these movies, Josh? The Transformers?
I was the first one.
The first one was fun.
I thought the first one was a lot of fun.
That was about it.
Fun.
I mean, it's fun. That's it. All right, cool.
Realistic.
I don't need more. That was good. Thanks.
Yeah, the problem with the later movies is it just became wrestling matches. And the cool part about Transformers is they don't wrestle around. They use all of their abilities.
Yes. It's like, wait, I want them to be Transformers, not whatever Rock'em Sock'em Robots. What is this?
Yeah, it was Rock'em Sock'em Robots.
Oh, jeez.
I'd watch that movie, Hasbro remake of the board game. Yes. We didn't even talk about any of those. How about that Battleship movie with Rihanna?
That
I mean-
happened.
But did that come out in the summertime? I mean,
Yeah.
I think it did actually.
it
Yeah.
did? Good
Yeah.
Lord.
Oh man. Yeah, it's really just the studios coming up with premises and not stories. It's like here.
There's so
Here's a
many
board
honorable
game.
mentions to terrible movies. I mean, Disney, they're awesome. They came out with A Wrinkle in Time. That bombed super hard. You had Alice Through the Looking Glass. That was
Oh,
just a non-starter.
yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Well, I mean, we could jump back in time if you want for a little bit. I was thinking of whenever I did my little 30 years ago today, there was another movie that came out 30 years ago. I think, oh my gosh, today again.
Goosh.
Dick Tracy.
Yes, Dick
1990.
Tracy.
Came out June 15th, 1990. This was also a huge flop that was pretty much helmed by Warren Beatty. For some reason, Warren Beatty is like,
Yeah, he was obsessed and bought the rights to it.
yeah, he bought the rights.
Still
and he
does to this day, FYI.
Oh, I'm sure. But I mean,
So-
he was what was it about him that he was like just shoved down everybody's throats saying that this guy is the best thing that Hollywood's ever had.
I don't know. I mean, it was one of those things where when you're a kid and you love a character so much that like that's like your passion project. You know, sometimes it can blind
I wasn't
you.
talking Dick Tracy. I was talking Warren Beatty.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Warren
Okay.
Beatty. That was his thing. And since
Right.
he believed in this character so much, he said, no one else can play him but me. And it has to look this way and all this kind of stuff. So he had all these parameters around it. And I think it's because he was just so obsessed with it growing up as a kid that it blinded him in many ways, unfortunately.
I mean, to be honest with you, it's got a interesting look, like the makeup artistry.
Yeah.
At least when you're watching it on a CRTV, it looks decent. not so much in HD, but
It definitely captured the look of the comic strip.
right.
Like it really did.
okay.
You look at it and go, oh my gosh, that's definitely Dick Tracy.
And it's definitely a product of its time because it does. It's not something that holds up today. Like there's a lot of, especially with what's going on in the world today. It's not going to hold up very well.
No, but I remember. And I was also fairly obsessed with Dick Tracy. That was one of my favorite comics growing up, and I was into gadgets and things. And
Yes.
out that I was somewhat disappointed, but I still liked the look and aesthetic of the whole film. So I ended up collecting more like, the behind the scenes stuff and like magazines that had like the makeup artists, stuff, which is kind of fun. I got to see the costume. So I liked that aspect of it. Other than that,
The thing that I when I was a little kid and this came out, the thing that I obsessed over was the watch telephone.
Of course. That's the big draw of Dick Tracy.
Apple Watch.
Yeah.
Here we are
now. Yeah.
We have the Dick Tracy.
We're all Dick Tracy now. This is what Warren Beatty wanted.
Well, and speaking of Warren Beatty, I don't know what's with this guy, but he was just coming off of another flop called Ishtar. Like perfect timing on that.
Yeah.
But
That's a classic flop.
Which is a classic flop. Yeah, for some reason it was, you know what? I don't need to get into Ishtar.
Yeah, that's
not much
that in the past.
Not much to talk about there. But someone else who was in that movie was Dustin Hoffman, and look at him. He's still doing well.
Kind of, yeah.
I'd rather watch a Dustin Hoffman movie than I would rather than watch a Warren Beatty movie.
I think he is part of the Me Too movement. So
Yeah.
Don't
Is he?
Dustin Hoffman's not in a good light.
This is news to me.
Sorry, it happened about 2 years ago, maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I apologize for my last comment. I do not want to watch a Dustin
There you
Hoffman
go.
movie. And Ishtar sucked.
There you go. Burn to the ground. So, what's going to happen in the future here? Are we just going to have movies, big tent-pole movies, anytime? I mean, that's what Marvel kind of started doing in Star Wars. So
we had Solo come out, which shout out to Solo sucking so bad that we get less Star Wars movies. Imagine you're such a bad Star Wars movies, they make less of you. That's pretty damn bad, especially with the money Disney has.
Maybe.
But just in 2019, the idea of, we're getting away from flops or we're only going to have big tentpole movies. October 11, 2019, Gemini Man lost the second most amount of money of any movie released last year. And the number one loser of money last year was released on November 1st. That was Terminator Dark Fate. So
Terminator
we have not moved on.
Anything. They can't do anything.
Yeah,
It's
you're right.
upsetting.
We have not moved on from the summer blockbuster, have we?
So failing. They get a big name. They throw their same stupid ideas out. They give you terrible stories, and they fail.
Yep.
In the end game last year.
Yeah. Oh, look at that! Good job, Josh. Pulling a pro.
I'm working on it.
Well,
taking notes for
on
progress.
this note, I would like to wrap this up with one of the biggest flops of all time. It was dubbed the worst picture of the decade, and it came out in 2000. Battlefield Earth.
Oh God, thank you. That movie is so bad.
Yep.
God.
This movie, I mean, the budget was $73 million. It looked terrible. The acting was terrible. There was nothing, and they even were going for a niche audience here too. They were
super cult niche.
They were going for not even just the cult niche. They were going for an entire religion on this one.
Yeah. Well, religion, cult, whatever you want to call them. Sure.
Oh, yeah. You know what? You're right.
Anyway, but yes, yeah. L. Ron Hubbard.
L. Ron
is the guy's
Hubbard.
name. Yeah.
It was his epic novel. But
epic novel to
man,
convert you to Scientology. Well, it didn't work. So
it did not work. It made $29 million. Well, surprisingly, it actually made $29 million. But
yeah.
I mean,
just watch The Master instead. That's a better movie, better director, better cast. It's great. Just watch that movie.
But when you're dubbed the worst picture of the decade, time to pack your bags. I can't think of the last movie that or a movie after this. No, a movie after this that John Travolta was even in.
He's been in stuff, and nothing that important or big.
Nothing where he's the main character.
Exactly.
Except for he was Gotti last year, but that was about it.
Gotti.
Yeah, what a flop! Oh God.
You know what? He was in
that
From
straight
Love.
to Netflix?
I think it was. Yeah.
I don't count those.
Yeah.
Why? Because they're not in theater? Just like the Academy. Unreal. You know what? Netflix should buy one of those theaters that's going under. Then
it's a good idea, actually.
Release just all their movies on there just for one
Just for
week,
one.
And
one
then
little
the
theater.
Academy has to bring them in.
Dude, Alex, that's brilliant.
They got to stop with the throw everything against the fan and see what sticks style.
Yeah.
Well, I think they'll put out the good stuff. They're not going to put Joe Exotic up in the movie.
I don't know, man. Amazon is showing how you do original content, and Netflix is like, nah, we know better than you.
Yeah.
That's true.
True. Anyways.
Well, I just wanted to wrap it up on that last movie. So.
Well, thank you for that bad taste in my mouth.
I hope everybody's got a bad taste in their mouth after listening to this. That's the idea.
Which one of these movies do you want to watch next?
Ooh, what if we did which one of these movies do you want us to watch next? And we'll do a review on it.
Great idea.
Oh, I don't know.
That's fine. That's fine. We can do it.
Kind of a bad idea.
We can watch Mortal Engines. Mortal Engines lost $178 million.
I do not want to watch that movie.
No, let's watch Monster Trucks.
No. Oh, God, I forgot about that, too.
Didn't they just go straight to DVD with that?
No,
it looks like a straight-to-DVD movie. Like, the cover of it and everything looks like it came straight to DVD.
There's such a long list. This could be like 10 episodes long of flop.
Oh, let's just wrap it up now. Kill it. Kill it with fire.
Kill it with fire.
So I think that's everything for episode 68. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Mixer, everything. Guess what? If you search Secondary Heroes, we'll be there.
Our faces will be smacked all over it. And don't forget to rate and review our podcast over on iTunes, because all of this is free for you and it's priceless to us until we start that Patreon once again. We probably won't.
Everyone listening, we hope you enjoyed. We'll talk to you next time.
Brag out.
Yeah.
Celebs who are still missing to this day. That is your clickbait of the week. Actually, that was